New York is one of the most famous cities in the world today. Huge skyscrapers, millions of residents, and an endless flow of people fill its streets every day. But few people think about the fact that centuries ago, the place where this giant metropolis now stands was covered with forests, rivers, and small settlements of Native American tribes. Long before Europeans arrived, the territory of modern New York was inhabited by the Lenape people. They lived by fishing, hunting, and trading with neighboring tribes. The island of Manhattan was simply part of their homeland, with villages, forests, and paths used for travel and trade. The first European to explore this region was the Italian navigator Giovanni da Verrazzano in 1524. Sailing under the French flag, he explored the eastern coast of North America and entered the bay that would later become New York Harbor. However, at that time, no permanent European settlement was established. Nearly a century later, the Dutch arrived. In 1609, the English explorer Henry Hudson, working for the Dutch East India Company, sailed into the same harbor and traveled up the river that now bears his name, the Hudson River. His expedition showed the Dutch that this region could become an excellent place for trade. In 1624, the Dutch founded a colony here called New Amsterdam. It quickly developed into an important trading post. The main business of the colony was the fur trade. European traders exchanged goods with Native Americans for valuable animal furs, which were then shipped back to Europe, where they were in high demand. One of the most famous stories from this period is the supposed purchase of Manhattan Island. According to legend, the Dutch bought the entire island from the Lenape people for 60 guilders, which is often said to be worth about $24. In reality, the situation was probably more complicated. Native Americans did not view land ownership in the same way Europeans did, so the agreement may have been more like permission to share or use the land rather than a permanent sale. Dutch control of the colony did not last long. In 1664, an English fleet arrived in the harbour and demanded control of the settlement. The Dutch governor surrendered without much resistance. The English then renamed the city New York in honour of the Duke of York, the brother of the English king. During the 18th century, the city began to grow rapidly. It became an important port for the British Empire in North America. Trade, shipping, and small industries helped the city expand. Merchants from different parts of the world passed through its harbour, and the population slowly increased. New York also played a major role during the American Revolution. In 1776, large battles were fought in and around the city between British forces and American revolutionaries. The British eventually took control of New York and held it for most of the war, turning it into their main military base in the colonies. After the war ended and the United States gained independence, New York briefly became the first capital of the new country. In 1789, George Washington was inaugurated there as the first president of the United States. The ceremony took place at Federal Hall, marking an important moment in American history. During the 19th century, the city transformed into a powerful economic center. One of the most important developments was the construction of the Erie Canal in 1825. This canal connected the Atlantic Ocean with the Great Lakes, allowing goods from the interior of North America to reach New York Harbor much faster and cheaper. As a result, the city became the most important trading port in the United States. At the same time, millions of immigrants began arriving in the city from Europe. People from Ireland, Germany, Italy, and many other countries came searching for jobs, freedom, and a better life. Many of them passed through the harbor and settled in the rapidly growing neighborhoods of the city. By the end of the 19th century, New York had become one of the largest cities in the world. In 1898, a major political change took place when 5 separate areas were united into a single city. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island were combined to form modern New York City. At the beginning of the 20th century, the city entered a new era of growth and construction. Advances in engineering allowed architects to build taller and stronger buildings. The first skyscrapers began to rise above the streets, symbolizing the wealth and ambition of the city. Through economic crises, wars, and massive waves of immigration, New York continued to grow and change. Its history is a story of exploration, trade, migration, and the constant search for opportunity. What began as a small trading settlement on an island gradually developed into one of the most powerful and influential cities in the world. The story of New York shows how a place that once held small villages and forests eventually became a global center of culture, finance, and history.